Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coach Conversations with
Yes.
myself, Coach Hadassah, and the lovely over here.
I can't Vanna Black.
Yeah, better.
Coach Cotton, how y'all doing today? Y'all know Coach is over here. She is in her silly moment, which is bringing me into mine. I try to temper mine down. But if she gonna be silly, then I gotta match the energy by nature.
Right. You gotta match this energy here.
You
Right.
can't get two Aries on the same platform and expect for it to go right. Sometimes it's just not gonna be all serious all the time. So yes.
Right. It's not, y'all. It's not. So sit back, relax, kick your feet up.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have a little fun. But it's this right here is truly a serious topic. It's a
Yes.
serious discussion. So of course, as coaches, we wanted to come together and have this conversation, because it must be had. And of
Right.
course, again, I'm Coach Hadassah. I'm a metaphysician, a financial wellness coach, and a Forex entrepreneur. And I teach energy and trading psychology at KPCFX to help Forex traders restore their health and increase their wealth. That's what I do, right?
Lovely. Yes, coach. And I'm Coach Cotton, and I just help you boost your performance, gain some freedom. I also support you in getting to fulfillment that could be in finances, emotional, or mental health. So together we are all you need, really.
Yeah. Dynamic duo, right?
Dynamic duo. Absolutely, coach.
Yeah. But listen, man, last week, right? What was it? Thursday? Was it Thursday?
Friday, was it Friday? Thursday or Friday? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was either Thursday or Friday that there was a decision that was made in the Supreme Court, right?
Mhm.
Where on the federal level, the Roe versus Wade decision was overturned, right?
Right.
So then that basically means that it leaves it up to each state across the country to make their laws and to decide on
Mhm.
abortion, right? Abortion
Abortion, right.
rights for women. So again, it leaves it up to each state to decide that, hey, we're going to allow abortions to be legal, or it's illegal.
Right.
It's illegal in the states. And so of course, many women across the board, across the nation,
Right.
is, hey, this is my body. How you gonna make, a decision, especially as men? How
Right.
are men making decisions for a woman's body, what she does with her body and things like that? I'm the one that has that power. Of course,
Right.
that's what many women are saying. And so the thing is that, we yes, we all have power. We all have personal power. We all have, our ability. And you know it is not up to any other individual,
Right.
on the decisions that you have to make for yourself and your body, your well-being, and things like that. So what is that going to look like for us as women, and
Right.
how we need to move about and navigate in a patriarchal society? It's always been a patriarchal society, right?
Right.
But what does that look like for us in taking accountability and responsibility for ourselves and our bodies, right? Like, what's your take on that, Coach?
So when I was studying it, coach, first of all, I agree. I feel like we should have say so because it is our body. And it's not so much a male or female thing, but this specific topic is female, driven. It's all about the woman. Abortion is all about the woman because no one else, a male, cannot give birth. So my thing is, yes, we definitely should have some say so in what we do. However, the accountability part, like you just mentioned, has to start before you even get to the point of conception, before you get to the point of you're pregnant, before anybody else can now come and have to encourage you to make a quicker choice. Because that's what it is. Like at this point, when you're pregnant, and if a state has the right to intervene, whether they vote to say, we are for abortions and we'll legalize it, or they say, nope, it's illegal. Like for Georgia, I live in Georgia, and what maybe 2 years ago or a year ago, Governor Brian Kemp, he got the courts to go ahead and put out a whole mandate that says, it's called the heartbeat law. So if at 6 weeks, if they can detect a heartbeat, you cannot abort. And it was approved. Well, then several weeks later, after the approval of this heartbeat law in the state of Georgia, they overturned it because they said it went against federal law, meaning it went against the Constitution. So it went against that 9th Amendment and that 14th Amendment, right? And so they banished the law. Well, they didn't banish it, they suspended the law. Well, now, since Roe versus Wade has been overturned in the state of Georgia, they're trying to decide if they're going to bring that law back or just over the state make abortions illegal, period. Whether it's a 6 week you can detect a heartbeat at 6 weeks, whether you can't, you're pregnant within 2 weeks, whether they're going to decide to make it illegal or not. So this is my thing. As a woman, and we want all this freedom of expression, we want this voice, we want to be heard. The ownership starts with us, Coach. And again, it just starts with way before you laying down, whether it's your husband, whether it's with your partner, whether you decide to have some type of in vitro, whether you decide to have whatever the case is, it's that woman's responsibility way before we can get to allowing a state to decide. You decide. And I think that's a part of our power. We get to make the decision. We get to say, you know what? If I'm selecting a partner, is this partner suitable? Am I going to be able to do it with or without him, Coach? You and I was talking yesterday when we was developing this, or getting ready to bring this to our platform, about what if you are married and your husband passed away? Are you prepared to still handle this life, your children, alone? Mm-hmm. So we sitting here acting like this decision for the courts or the law to get involved or the states to get involved, when really it's really irrelevant to the woman, because you can make the decision early on. Now, yes, are there these unique cases like incest or rape and you're a victim or your life has been put in danger? Okay, I believe if that's a case-by-case scenario, I do believe in certain governments having that rational mindset to take it as a case-by-case scenario. You know what I'm saying? Like every case is different, and that's a critical, extreme incident. However, a woman who also has choice to go and have sex, not willing to abstain and get pregnant, then you should have been deciding long before how you was going to determine if you can take care of your child or not, or children or not. You know what I'm saying? So we do have the power, Coach, but the power can't start today with a decision being overturned from 50 years ago. It just can't. To me.
Right. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. And like you said, when we were having this conversation, right. And that's the reason why it was like, you know what? Hey, we got to do a coach conversation on this. Yeah. Like there is no way, we coming out the gate basically because we've been gone for a minute, right? And so
now we back with the jump off. Okay. See, I told you when the silly it starts to show its head.
Right. And so but it was that, it was I mean, it's just, I mean, in the bigger scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things, like because again, in this patriarchal society, right, and we're not gonna get into finger pointing and blaming and we're the man, and it's like we not doing none of that, right?
Mhm.
Because it's like, can we all just get along? We
Right.
have to. And so, but in this framework of a patriarchal society and how women, make the decisions and have the power, and where we're going to navigate this space. And I do hear men a lot of times, especially, I mean, come on now, across social media, I see it all the time. It's some reels and some videos and some sound bites and
Right.
and posts and all of this type of stuff, right? About women not taking accountability,
Mhm.
women being accountable, when women don't want to be accountable and all of this kind of stuff. And I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong, I agree.
Right.
I truly agree with that. Like, there are a lot of women who do not want to take accountability for their part, right? We ain't taking nobody should take accountability for just like everything.
Right.
You gotta take accountability for your part,
Your part,
right?
absolutely.
So
agree.
taking a woman taking accountability for her decision making in something, it's like, if you really want us to do that, you're not gonna like it.
Right.
You're really not gonna like it.
Right.
and this is why I say that, because on one end, and I'm gonna say this, and women, you're not gonna like it either. Why is that?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that out. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
Women, you're not gonna like this either. However, accountability starts, like even Coach Cotton was saying, with the decision and the process of, right? So let's just say, now I'm gonna give an example, because I don't want to even, like, it's going into, I'm talking about me, okay? When I began to take accountability for my actions, for my decision-making process, and all of that, and decisions that I had made in the past, and all of that type of stuff. Because given a little bit of a background, I was a teenage parent, which made me a single parent. And I had my first two children, because they were twins, right? At 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then gave birth to a son, daughters, at 16. So I had 3 children by the time I was 16 years old. Okay. So my decision, the choices that I made, the decisions that I made, and the consequences for my behavior, my conduct, my actions that led me to that point, and having to, take care of children and do the things that I was doing. I mean, I was doing the best I could with what I had,
Right.
but at least I think that everybody, like as parents, you want the best for your children. I mean, but at 16, what was the best that I could really do or provide for? I did the best with what I had and all of that, but when it came down to it, like, yeah, were their fathers around and stuff like that? Well, yeah, they was, but shoot, we was all teenagers.
Right.
I mean, what was they going to be able to do, provide, what I'm saying, and all of that at that particular point, get a McDonald's, Burger King job and put in half on some diapers.
Right. That's just reality.
Like, that's the reality of it at that time, because we were teenagers. However, I mean, 16, 3 children, it's like, you know what? I got to start making, to where there are certain things that I'm just not going to do.
Right.
I'm just not doing. And I'm not going to put myself in situations where those things could even occur. Right. And so it did have to start with me setting certain boundaries and rules for myself.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, because here's the thing about it. I mean, we have we have laws, we do have rules, we do have regulations, and there's nothing wrong with having those things. That's how you cut down on crime, you cut down on unwanted things, unwanted situations, like all of that. And and in these times, you know, there is a lot of talk about boundaries and stuff like that. But we have to put certain things on ourselves too.
Yes.
You know, how we're going to get mad or angry or whatever about other people overstepping boundaries or disrespecting your boundaries and stuff like that when you don't even have them in place for yourself.
Right.
And so, you know, I mean, as early as that age, that's when it was just like, okay, well, no, well, how can I prevent pregnancy?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm gonna be the first to say I had birth control babies. What does that mean? I had children while taking birth control. I conceived on birth control. So we know that that's not 100%. It's not 100% because you can conceive with even taking birth control.
Right.
So what is the best thing that I could possibly do? Now, I'm just saying for me, for myself, you know, I got to know my own body. You have to get to know yourself, right? I had to know my own body. I had to know, you know, certain things to where I know, you know, okay, a woman can only get pregnant within 24 hours once a month.
Right.
Like for real. 24 hours, a 24-hour window once a month can a woman conceive.
Mm-hmm.
The egg is alive for 24 hours. And on the other end, a man's sperm lives for 72 hours. Right. So you got three days to a woman's 1 day. So that's, I got to know me, right? I got to know when I need to be around folks and when I don't need to be.
Right.
You know, when I need to be around people, when I don't need to be around people, when I don't even need to put myself in a situation,
mm-hmm.
you know, where that could even be possible. Right. And then that goes along with, you know, so let's navigate this space of, you know, maybe like and I don't want to say dating because dating is just a event of going out. Dating doesn't, well, dating, when you're in the dating process and that stage of relationship building, sex shouldn't be on the table, but a lot of times it is.
Right. True.
Right. A lot of times it is. But in a dating process, it's just an event of we're going on a date. We put something on the calendar to say we're going to take a walk in the park or go have a picnic or go to the movies or, you know, something like that. But again, when those boundaries are not set or they're crossed or whatever, that's how you can hear the word dating and you automatically think, or people automatically think there's some sexual activity going on. Right. So again, being accountable in those stages, in those processes. So, you know, let's say if it is, you know, a more significant, you know, relationship or whatever the case may be, you know, that, or it's marriage. Okay, well, what can happen? Right? There can be, you know, conception that takes place in the relationship between a man and woman who decided to be monogamous. I mean, monogamous, right. But they're not necessarily, they're not married.
Right.
Legally, right. And then there can be where the conception takes place in marriage, in wedlock. But dang, how many people do we know that have left, divorced,
right,
separated? You know what I'm saying? And all of that, you know. And like I was like when I was sharing that with Coach yesterday of like, and I always say this, spouses, or I usually say it like this because it just got a certain kind of ring to it, but husbands and wives may leave or die and children grow and go. but you got to live with you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right. And so it's not even just, oh, if the person leave, or, you broke up or you get divorced or whatever. What if they die?
Right.
I mean, I know widows with multiple children, 4, 5, and 6 children. And one day their husband just dropped dead, or their wife just dropped dead, or get killed or whatever. Some women die in childbirth.
Right.
I mean, just all of that kind of stuff. And now you have a parent they're a single parent.
Right.
Single mothers, single fathers even. But, we're talking about women, in the childbirth and Roe versus Wade and all of that. But these are just the things that you have to even consider or think about. And a lot of times we're not responding, we're reacting. We're not thinking. We're not sitting down and thinking about, before I even make before I even, I won't say make this decision, but before I even commit to the act of, commit to a sexual act, where I could possibly, conceive, and get pregnant. The person who I'm in this, want to do this, want to be in this with, okay, do they want this with me?
Right.
Do they want a child with me?
Right.
Even if they're saying or acting like they do. Because listen, people do until they don't.
That's a straight fact.
You know what I'm saying?
And they get the right to change their mind at any given time, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You can do about it. Everybody, people, and let's just say with marriage and stuff like that. Folks, 30 years and 60 years and 50 years away, you still have to wake up every single day and make the choice of if you want to be there or not.
Absolutely.
People have gotten, left and divorced and separated or whatever, with children and all, and it woke up one day, I don't want to be with this person no more.
Right. Like, I don't want to do life like this no more.
Right. And children there. And so as women, right? I don't care what. I mean, he could, because that's the thing about it. A man would definitely have to show you, not just say, but show you that he. I'm going back for a minute. As women, we have the bond with our children way before a man does.
Right.
Because the child is conceived in us. We the ones, we having the morning sickness and all of that kind of stuff. We're the ones that feel the changes in our bodies. We're the ones where our organs and everything is shifting and this and that and the other. We feel the baby move. We feel the flutters. We feel all of that, right? Our hormones are changing, all of that stuff. The baby is hearing our heartbeat, right? We have more of a bond and connection from day one.
Right.
Right. Now, the bond with that child is really through you that the man will have with the child. You're going to automatically have that bond because the child is in you. He's not going to have that bond with that child until after it really gets here.
Right.
So he actually has to be committed to you in order for him to commit to the baby.
Absolutely. And then that whole relationship has to be developed, because those are two separate relationships.
There's two separate relationships, but his connection or bond with the child is through you.
Right.
Right. And so if he hasn't even showed a commitment to you through I mean, you have to know what those processes even look like.
Right.
It starts with, it's more than just an interest. I mean, I can have an interest in something, but that don't necessarily mean I committed to it.
Right.
Right. And when you make a commitment to something, then that look, when you make a commitment to something, you do it even when you don't feel like it.
Right.
Because feelings are fleeting. They come and go. You feel emotions. I can feel angry and then I express the anger and it's gone.
Right.
I can feel happiness and then express the emotion. I can feel these different emotions. I cannot, like this morning, I get up and I walk. Well, I didn't necessarily feel like it, but because I'm committed to my health, I got my butt up and put my shoes on and walk.
Right.
Right. So what does that commitment look like? And that has to be something that's in the beginning. You have to see that in that process and all of that kind of stuff. And so again, the decision, it really starts there. What have they even shown to where they're be committed to you in order to be committed to the child? So that, and then even still with that, baby, still look, it's still an everyday decision.
Everyday decision to show up. And then when you were saying that, Coach, it brought something to my mind about standards. And with women, see, we have this issue, I don't know where it comes from, where we will adjust. I say it like that because it sounds better. Right. Adjust our standards for people. I won't even just say men. But in this specific subject, you have to already have a certain standard in place before you even start this. Even in the dating process, whether you're gonna, because I'm single, like I'm the opposite of Coach. I'm single, no kids, not married, right? So we have two different sides of the story. And so for me, I have to start thinking about the life that she has now. Like I can't think about it once I'm pregnant. Oh my God, is he gonna stay? Are we together? Like no. At this point, me being single, and if I have an interest in someone and we start to date, I have to start asking the right questions up front. You know what I'm saying? We get, as women, we'll adjust our standards because we're so forward or we're too direct or we're requesting too much. Well, then if my standard, if you can't meet my standards for myself, then that should automatically tell you this ain't gonna work. Because the right man for you, he's never gonna think that your standards are too much. He's not gonna think that, because he's gonna have the same vision. And this is where you start talking about agreement, and then you talk about commitment. And so we can. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, and the effort. We're talking about. Right. It's and it's tripped out because I hear so many. I mean, of course, I'm married. I've been married for quite some time, but before that, I definitely dated and had, monogamous relationships and right. And so, but there has to be an emotional effort.
Yes.
Right. What is, and I talk about this in my class all the time. Well, what is emotions besides energy and motion? Mm-hmm. Is he putting forth the emotional effort towards you? Like, is the energy in motion pushing, right? Progressing the you all's relationship together, moving it forward. Where are you going? Where do you want to go? What do you want? Mm-hmm. Is he willing to put in the effort, emotional effort, to even have that with you? Did you sit down and talk about anything? I mean, all of that. And then just a process of it all, because anybody could say any freaking thing.
Right. They can talk a really good game.
They can talk a really good game in order to get what they want.
Absolutely.
Right. And then after that, then what? And then here you are sitting there with a baby, pregnant. And then now that you see that, like, the moment, whatever, now it's changed. And then now here it is in a situation where you have to get an abortion, but then you're in a state that has banned it. but
Right.
I should be able to do what I want with my body. Well, yeah. And
That
that
thought
should
should
have
have came
happened
long
in
time
the
ago.
beginning,
Absolutely.
right? Not when you have to go and do a process that could be life threatening. And I mean,
Right.
and listen, I am talking from experience. I have had one. Okay. I mean, I can put it out there. I've had one before. Did I want to do that? No, I didn't. But what I also did not want to do was raise not another child. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. In a situation where, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm bringing it again. It's like, come on. And I had to take accountability for, okay, where do I stop?
Where do I
stop? And I don't care who said what. Ooh, you look good. Ooh, you fine. Ooh, I do want to be with you. Ooh, guess what? That's all cool, fine, and dandy. But these kids gotta eat. They need shoes. They need clothes. They need more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Children need love, support, food, clothing, shelter, education, recreation, and opportunity.
Right.
Right.
And for that matter, Coach, so do you. How can the vessel be diminished and burdened and weak, and we trying to raise kids?
Exactly. That part too. And it's like, look, I got 5 sons and 2 daughters. And we homeschool. Well, I homeschool at least 4 of the 7. And our sex education class, I talked the real because I could. I had that freedom in homeschool to talk about what sex education really is. It's like, first of all, let's talk about your body, the whole physiology and all of that of your body, a woman's body, how it operates, how your body operates with her body, how this function goes into here, the reproductive, how it comes together. But then not only that, like, listen, when it comes down to, I'm not going to put out that, okay, well, if you get somebody pregnant, like, what is that? If you get somebody pregnant, it's a whole woman. Right? If you get somebody pregnant, then that's your seed, and so you got to make sure you take care of the child. Where did that child come from? Where was that seed planted? It was planted in that woman that you were dealing with.
Right.
You put your precious body, because his is precious and valuable too, right? And brought it together with her precious and valuable body, right? And then conceived. And if you want your child to be okay, she has to be okay.
100%.
So immediately you get somebody pregnant, you got 3 or possibly 4 people to take care of, because you might just have twins or even
triplets.
Right? But you have it at a minimum of 3 that you have to take care of: yourself, her, and the seed that you planted in her. Because if she's not okay, that child will not be okay. And what we not doing, because I let man know I'm a woman, and I was a woman before I was mother and wife. I'm always be a woman before any of those 2. Those are titles and they come with jobs, but I'm a woman. So as a woman, I know what it is. I know what it's like. I know, the ups and downs of relationships, the ups and downs of, being a mother and everything that you got to do. And when the burden of responsibility is left on to one person, like at the end and the beginning of the day, in more cases than not, that child is with the woman.
Right.
Do we have a lot of single fathers out there that take very, very good care of their children? Yes. However, he will never carry a child. Never.
Not the design.
The child will never grow in his body. Never. Right? I mean, it's just not gonna happen. It will never happen.
Ever,
Right?
ever.
The child will come out, he'll love it, take care, you know, all of that kind of stuff, but it will never ever have come out of his body. They do not have to go through the process of childbirth and delivery and the labor pains and everything that come along with the whole process. That's not gonna happen. Right? Women are the ones that go through that. And so as women, with taking accountability up front, not before you have to get an abortion or take the abortion pill, which I mean, both. It's dangerous.
Very dangerous. And it's harmful to the female body.
Yes.
These procedures, so I've heard, are not a simple process. When you're talking about a doctor has to go in and scrape the lining of the uterus, which is they're removing tissue that was created by the Heavenly Father that goes in along with the function of your body, the damage. Although one thing about the body, it will repair itself. It knows how to do that. But once you're scraping and you got people in there shifting and moving things around, trying to clean up a mess, and I'm gonna say it, y'all may not like it, that you made.
Talking about accountability. Accountable for themselves
all day, coach. Like you got somebody now have to come in and clean up something that you did when you could in the beginning. Again, make that decision for yourself. Hold yourself accountable to your future, because we're not just looking at it today. We're not talking about, you know, your excitement for today, dealing with a certain man. Even as much as you may desire to have children, there is a whole minimum 20 years that you will be also responsible for until you raise that child to the point of where they can operate independently. And even still then, you still have a responsibility to that child and that family. If your first responsibility is not...
Can I say 40?
Oh, yes, say 40, coach, because you know, 40 years, that's a generation.
Can I say 40? Because I'm telling you.
Please make it plain.
I'm gonna need people to stop talking about this. When they 18, honey, that is the beginning.
Right.
That is the beginning. I mean, you are
right. Agreed. I believe in that.
You get lead and guide and parent and all that all the way up and at least until age 40.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're gonna live with you to that time, but I'm just saying, I mean, they leave, they come home a couple of times, they fall on some hard times, they probably back and just make sure that you got a space for them, a let out couch, a air mattress or something. Right. I mean, it's gonna be a minute. They're gonna come back home a couple of times, and they might be in their 20s, they might be even in their 30s, they might be 40. Because they still 100%. Be messing up.
100%. And that's just real life. But it's up to that woman to make that decision early on and to look at the entire picture. You got to look at the big picture, everything. Look at a generation of life before you make the decision. And then this way, once you're taking ownership of how you want to treat your body, what goes on with your body, since we got this power, right? We so vocal and expressive about our power. Then use your power for good. Use your power to help yourself out.
Yes, that part.
You just gotta do it. I mean, have the expectation for the standard that you set. Like, if the man is not meeting that expectation or adhering to those standards, then that's just not the relationship for you. You know, move on. Have that value and worth for yourself to know that you can still make it in good health and that you can still care for your child, and that you can still have that control over your body and those decisions about your body.
Yes. Because I'm telling you, that is the thing. And I mean, there's a okay, so then let's get into this, right? Because then we'll talk, you know, because people will say, you know, what about the you know, hey, rape. Right? I mean, because many women have been
raped and gotten pregnant from a rape,
you know, and gotten pregnant from that.
Right.
And I mean, the thing is, unless a person has broken into your home, right? They've broken into your home and took you by force. You were walking alongside, down the street on your way to wherever, and then someone has taken you by force on the street, you know, that.
Right.
But when it comes to, but there are a lot of women who have been, raped by their husbands, right? I mean, married. And then you rape, and people will say, how you raped by your husband? It's your husband. Because just because you're married don't necessarily mean that, like you got to put out every single time somebody feel like they want something from you. You might be sick, tired. I mean, anything. You sit up there, you working, come home, and you got to do this with the children, and you got to clean up, and you got to cook, and you got to clean, and you got to sew, and you got to bake, and you're doing all that by yourself. And then at the end of the day, here comes somebody. It's like if you don't go somewhere, I mean, if you didn't help in any of this, I'm gonna need you to calm down, sir. I am tired. Right. If you didn't want me to be tired, then you could have did two things. One, help me get some help, or two, help me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But since that didn't happen, I'm tired, right? And you can say that. Again, power. Everybody has that ability. True. It be times when the wife of women want to get down and he tired.
Right.
Ain't nothing going down with that case because ain't nothing going down with stuff like that. Let's be real.
Ain't nothing going down when it's down.
Get them out the room, but it just ain't nothing happening when stuff is like.
Coach, I can't do it.
I'm saying. So she might have wanted to, and he like this ain't nothing. Right, it's a wrap. So if he has the power to be like, I'm not in the mood, or is that, or whatever, then she has that same ability and power too, right?
Right.
But there are some cases where women, wives have been raped by their husbands.
Right.
Okay. Women have been raped by their boyfriends or significant others. You see what I'm saying? And so, in that, I mean, that situation is really a touchy one, because of course with a husband and the wife, I mean, you both live there, you're at home. I mean, like, how can you
argue this?
Move yourself from that situation to where I can say for a, like a boyfriend, girlfriend situation or whatever, then, that has a bit more control to it, because, you can, because this thing called self-control. Right. In the scriptures, they call it temperance, right? It means self-control. It's the control of self, not another person. Okay. Where, like say, when I made the decision to not put myself in situations where that could even be possible, I made sure that I wasn't out at night. I did not go out with men after a certain time. If we were to go on a date and we didn't go on that date and actually leave by 6:00 in the evening, because it was like I was only going to be with that person for at least 2 hours. 2 hours I'm going, so from 6 to 8, because I mean, everybody know, and I get sleepy by 9. So date had to be over by 8 so I can make it home. I have always been asleep by 9 o'clock. Date had to be over, and then enough time for me to get back home. And so if we weren't where we needed to be, meet or whatever by 6:00, I wasn't going.
Right.
Wasn't no, listen, I had people mad at me. I mean, literally mad at me, because if you called my phone after 9, you was getting the answering machine. I turned my ringer off. and I turned my answering machine down so that I wouldn't even hear a voice of a message to even be tempted to go anywhere. I mean, again, I had to set boundaries for myself.
Right.
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 I had to do that. And I mean, then, you know, people be, it's like, man, I by the time they did realize, like, well, let me call her during the day, which they should have been doing in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I answered the phone, man, you know, they felt some type of way. You called me after 9 o'clock.
Right. My hours of operation have
closed.
We're
my
over.
office hours are. Right. I became big red real quick. My office hours are. But I wouldn't put myself in situations, you know, if I didn't want any of that to be possible, you know, and it wasn't even about them, you know, what they gonna try to do to me. No, about me. Because I might want it to stay down.
Right.
See what I'm saying? You know,
right.
It's like,
that's their ownership again. That's accountability.
It's accountability. I'm gonna make sure that I don't want to. Yeah. Right. I'm gonna make sure that I don't put myself in situations where it could even be a possible mood. So if we want to talk about women's accountability, then let's be all the way accountable.
Right.
100%. Accountable up until, and then now we want to holler our power, our choice, our rights, our this,
voice,
that, our voice is not being heard. It's, you know, and then, you know, I want to have the freedom of my sexuality. Ain't nothing more freeing, right? Nothing is more freeing than self-control.
Absolutely.
When it comes to just across the board, but especially sexuality, there is nothing more freeing than self-control and choosing who I want to open myself up to in that after they have shown more than what? Charisma and some funny jokes.
Right.
Who cares? I can listen to some comedians for that.
Right. And get the same type of feeling.
From, oh, he smells good. Go to a cologne counter or something, spray it in the air. Oh, that smells great. I mean, like, for real, it has to be more than, oh, and then he fine. Man, you know how many fine people out here?
Thanks.
Pleasing to the eye. What about his character? What about it? What is it that is going to be, you know, more that will carry not only you, but a baby, okay? That if you in that space to where you don't have to turn your womb unto a tomb.
Absolutely. Woo. Right.
I mean, come on.
Right.
We want more power over our bodies. We got it. We do have it. But you have to really have it and really own it and really, really be accountable. Like, for real. That's all I got, Coach.
That's all. I mean, that's it in a nutshell, Coach. So what we ending with, like, if you want that total control, you have that self-control, take accountability before you get to the point to where now any other third party has to step in and decide for you. That's the simple format. That's the basics. So have a standard for yourself. That's it. It's no more.
And I do feel that this is a you know, a conversation that can be continued because there's really something more going on in the grand scheme of things.
I agree with that. Yes.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, because, and I'm going to end on this note because it made so much sense. My cousin had posted this on his Facebook wall. He said, so, wait, how did he say it? He said, so on one end, the population is the population growth is out of control and we're trying to control the population. You know what I'm saying? Because too many people on the earth,
right,
with resources. But then we're going to ban or overturn Roe versus Wade on abortion on a federal level. Like, make it make sense.
Right.
right? And I do understand what this is really about. And I'm just going to put this out there so that when we do have this discussion again or this conversation again, people would have already at least looked at and then went and delved into more research. Her name is she's an educator, Jane Elliott. And there's a video on YouTube called The Birth Dearth, and it's actually a book, and she talked about it. So we're going to post a link to that particular video. It's probably like five or six minutes.
Like 5 minutes or so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 minutes or so. And it was actually it was a longer interview that was put into sections and different parts. And so it was that particular part. And his video is called The Birth Dearth, based on a book about basically population control and things like that. And so in my opinion, that's what this is really about. That's what it's really about. And so I would say that melanated women, I don't know if you're the ones that have too much of it, will have too much of an issue at all. But your numbers are needed. I will say that your numbers are needed. Your voices are needed for this matter, but it's not for you. It's for other women. It's for other women, but it's not for women of color, because we're multiplying at an alarming rate. We are. And we can take that back to the scriptures in Exodus, because what they say, history repeats itself, right? It's a cycle, and there are cycles and patterns. And this is a pattern that has happened before. It has happened before. So yeah, again, check out that link to at least hear what she had to say about it, and then delve into it, or do a little bit more research, and then we're going to come back, on Coach's Conversations and talk more about that.
Right.
About that, Coach.
I think that'd be great. I'm all for it.
All right. So that ends this, discussion on Coach's Conversations, and we'll be back again next week, Monday at what time?
6 p.m. Central Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. And make sure that you go ahead, subscribe to the channel. If you're following us or watching us on Facebook, make sure that you like and share. And on YouTube, that you click subscribe, like this video, and you can share it on YouTube as well. But then also let us know what you think. You know what I'm saying? Chime in on this. Post, your comments in the comment section and things like that, because we do want to talk about this. We do want to, have this conversation, because hey, it affects everybody.
Right. It sure does. Absolutely.
It affects everybody. So we need everybody's voices heard, and we can, bring up some things on the next coaches conversation. So until next time, you all have a great day. Peace.